Thank you for watching this video. To best support the channel, please take a moment and click the subscribe button. Also, the links to purchase this fly and the materials to tie the fly are in the description. Today we're going to be tying up a soft hackle Mink Zonker fly. We're using a size 12 jig hook. This is the Moonlit Tagata ML501, and we're getting that bead seated on the hook. And then we're going to take a pre-trimmed section of Mink Zonker strip, and the Zonker strip's going to have the fur combing back towards the back and extend one hook length beyond the curve of the hook. So we're going to get that seated on there, and then we'll get the hook into our vise and we'll pull all the Zonker hide and fibers towards the back of the hook so it gets out of the way. We're going to be using some Semperfli Nano Silk in 12/0 or 50 denier, and we'll go ahead and get that on the hook now. Once you have your thread locked in place, go ahead and trim out your Zonker strip, or don't trim out your Zonker strip, trim out the thread, tag end. And what we'll do now is we'll tie in a piece of flash, and we'll have that extend. We'll tie in 4 pieces of flash, and we'll have that extend just beyond where the Zonker strip goes. And we'll leave the long end on the hook side, because we'll be folding it over here in just a second. So we use a pinch wrap to keep things in place. Then we'll make sure that we have our thread there and our flashaboo going about the right length. For this flashaboo, we're using speckled gold, a really cool gold and black speckled color. And then we're going to fold that back and start wrapping our way towards the curve of the hook. When we get back there, we're just going to work our way back forward, making sure that we keep tension on there. We're going to snip our 4 strands at the same length as the original 4. And now we're going to go ahead and tie in those same 4 strips all over again. And we'll tie it down so that our tie-in point ends right at the curve of the hook. Advance our thread back to the front and set that out of the way. And now we'll go ahead and just wrap these 4 strands of gold speckled flashaboo in touching wraps all the way up to the bead. And this will give us a nice shiny little body for when there's some flash showing through. Now we'll tie that off with a catching wrap, and we want to keep our material to the top of the hook because we're going to end up having these 4 strands head towards the back as well. So we're going to hold those out of the way, grab some UV resin in thin, spread that on the flashaboo so it gets a little bit extra durability. And then we'll cure that with our UV resin light. You can see we have everything nicely cured up now. So what we'll do now is we're gonna make sure that the fibers are oriented the right way so that the fur's flowing towards the back of the hook. And then we'll separate a small section of the hide and the fur so we can have a clean tie-in point. And we'll lock in our Zonker strip with a couple of tight wraps. Once that's tied in there, we'll grab our scissors and we'll work on cutting that hide clean. Not a good angle for me to cut from behind like that. There we go, now we got that cleaned up. We'll do a couple more wraps of thread to help lock that tightly into place. It's a nice thing about this nano silk is that you can do that without adding any extra bulk. So we'll take the 4 strands that are right behind the bead and we'll trim them to be half the length of that Zonker strip. And I'll take the other 8 strands that are coming out the back and trim them just longer than the tip of the hair on that Mink Zonker. Now that's tied into place, we'll go ahead and grab a done hen feather and we'll trim off the fluffy base. And we'll do that on both sides, and then we'll preen our fibers back. We'll have a little tip hanging out. Lock that into place. And then we're going to do 3 full wraps of hackle. We're going to preen the feathers back every time so that they're going more towards the back than anywhere else. And then once you've done your 3rd wrap, go ahead and catch the remaining stem with your tying thread. And we'll trim that tag out. Now you go ahead and do several wraps, make sure everything's nice and clean and tied in the way you want. And now we'll go ahead and grab the whip finishing tool and we'll whip finish right behind the bead. And trim off our thread. Now we'll go ahead and put a small dot of UV resin right behind that bead on those exposed thread wraps just to give a little bit of additional durability on this fly. This is a great little fly to imitate small bait fish and leech patterns. It's great. It's got a heavy enough bead that you can use it Euro nymphing or Euro jigging a streamer. Please swing by the shop and grab some, and if you haven't had a chance yet, like and subscribe.